Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how I use Spectrum Noir alcohol ink pen to color in this image. This is a stamp by Prima. It's called the Mixed Media Doll. I will have the information, more information about the stamp used and the Spectrum Noir pens in the information box below. So I'm just using my stamp and then I'm just going to be stamping it with archival ink. Now the reason I'm using archival ink is because it's a permanent ink and it will not react with the alcohol pen markers. So I find that the archival ink is the best ink to use if you are going to be coloring with alcohol markers. So I'm just going to add my ink to my stamp. The stamp is pretty big, so for today I just want to do a tutorial on the coloring only, and then probably next week then I can show you how to put this stamp image and colored image together into a card or another project. I'll see. So anyway, once my image has been stamped down, I am going to be using my marker pens, and these are the colors. I don't have the whole set, so I've picked 3 colors that will work well together: the DR2, DR4 and the DR6. I think they work really well together as far as blending is concerned. So the DR2 is the lightest red I'm using on this project. So I'm just starting off in the middle of the skirt just to show you how I'm gonna go ahead and color this in. Now this is the way I find coloring with the alcohol pen markers easier, by using the lightest color first. Some people start with the darkest color. I mean, sometimes I alternate as well, depends. So I've started with DR2 and then now I'm going in with DR4. I was meant to put the DR4 cap on in the screen, but I forgot. Now as you can see, sometimes what happens when you open your pen, you have to be careful because you might find some of the alcohol ink is leaking through the cap, so just be aware of that. I am going to be cutting out my image, so I wasn't too fussed about the fact that I've got ink on my card. So now I'm going to use the DR6, which is the darkest tone, and then I'm just going to add this on the edge, as you can see there, and I'm just following the curve of the image as well. Now I'm going to go back with my DR4 and blend in with the DR6. So to blend, all I'm doing is just go over the DR6 with the DR4 and then just color layering it over. Now I'm moving to the next one, and as you can see, this time I'm starting off with the DR4 and then I'm going back in with my DR2. So I've started off with my mid-tone, the second one, and then I'm just using DR2 on this section here. My pen is already drying up. I have not really had a chance to use them. I have no idea why I've stored them flat as advised, but this one was already drying up. But I have enough for this project. I have enough ink in the pen for this project. So using DR4, I went back in again, and then now I'm using DR6 again at the edge to create some shadow, and then where the design suggests that there's a fold in the skirt, I'm using my DR6 in the fold, and then I'm gonna take my DR2 and then just go over that DR6, the darkest tone, and then just blend in. Now I'm using DR4 just to go over everything, and as I'm doing this, I'm just trying to blend by going into circular motion as well. I mean, I find the blending pretty easy. I mean, they do blend really nicely. It's just that as you could see, the pen was leaking, and I just think that it also dried off pretty quickly because I had this only for a couple of months. Anyway, this time I'm layering my DR6 first, and then going back with my DR4 and blend away. Again, using different type of strokes, straight or even circular. Both ways work really well. And then using my DR2, just blending the rest over the image. And this is what I will be doing for the rest of the skirt. Where the line of the skirt is on the left on one side, I will be using my DR6 and then my DR4 and then my DR2. Okay, moving up to the top part of the dress, I'm using my DR2 to just color in the whole of the top except the cardigan, which I intend to color in gray. And as you can see, my DR2 is quite dry. I don't think I will be buying the refill for it yet, I don't know. And then using DR4, I'm just adding around the edge. So I've added my DR4 under the cardigan just to show that the cardigan is has a shadow over the top, and then going back with my DR6 and adding even more shadow. Then using the DR4 just to blend everything together. Just going back onto that DR6 so that there's no harsh lines or harsh edge, and to finish off just use the DR2 for the top, you know, middle section of the top. And there you go. And that in itself creates some shadow on the top so that it doesn't look flat. Now I'm going back with my DR6 and just to add some more shadow here and there. Okay, now I'm going to be coloring in the cardigan, and I'm going to be using some gray for the cardigan. I'm starting off with IG6, and yet again my IG6 seems like it's a bit dry. Okay, but I did have enough because I'm doing a voiceover now. I did have enough to finish the project, but I know that's drying up as well. And then going back in with the IG6 to add some shadow. So I'm just adding the shadow mostly around the edge, but then I went back in on top of everything because I wanted a darker tone. Then I'm taking IG7 and I'm adding some shadow just around the edge. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. I'm starting off with IG6 and then using IG7 around the edge, and then just blend everything out. IG5, which is a much darker gray, because I just thought I needed something darker to add some shadow. So then obviously I go back with my IG6 to blend everything away. Here I am using IG5 again, and then I will be going back with IG6 and then just blend everything out. Now with the hair, I'm starting out with TN7. I don't like to put a lot of highlight over the hair, so I'm just using this as my base color, and then I'm just using the tip of the marker pen to just color in the hair using lines, almost drawing lines on top of the hair. Now I'm using TN8, which is the second darker tone, and I'm just adding this dark tone where I think there will be shadow on the hair. And then taking TN7, I'm just coloring everything else, because like I said, I don't like too much highlight. I will also go with my blender pen to take off some of the brown where I want the highlight to be. You will see that in a minute. So my TN8 at the moment is my darkest brown. So I'm just using this in a flicking motion. So top of the hair, bottom of the hair, towards the back of the neck, I mean where I think there will be shadow. And now I'm using my colorless blender, and that's where I'm just gonna add a bit of highlight on the hair. and I will do the same process to the other side of the hair. Then I decided to go in with EB8, which is a much darker brown, and then I'm just going to add some darker tone over top of the hair and underneath where I think there will be more shadow. This marker pen as well is has dried up, so I was using whatever I could from the pen. Really surprised with that because I have hardly used my pen, to be honest, and I do keep them away from the sun, so I don't know why, and all my pen were properly closed, so I don't know why they dry up. If you do have Spectrum Noir and you do have similar problems, could you please leave me a comment in the section below and tell me your experience with them, please? Thank you. Anyway, so I'm just using this pen, which is pretty dry at the moment, but then at the same time it kind of like helped me to do this flicking motion, just trying to mimic the texture of the hair. I'm just adding some tones. Now I'm just adding some very a different brown. I didn't make a note of it. As you can see, this is dried up as well, and I'm just adding this little bit here and there where the highlights are already on the hair. Just a little bit, not too much. To get my Copic Cial out, and then I'm just going to be using these. I've had these for a very long time, Haven't used them that much recently over the past year, so but they, you know, they are still good to use. Plenty of ink left, haven't dried up or anything like that, so I was happy to see that. So I'm just going to be picking out some colors to use for the skin tone. This Copic Cial was a set, and it is the skin tone set, so I'm just going to be using that for the skin. I'm starting off with R02 to just go over the whole the skin, face, neck, arms and legs, and then I'm gonna go back and add some shadow. Using YR02, I'm going to be adding some shadow. Under the skirt, this is where the skirt will, you know, project a shadow on the leg. And then I'm just using the first one to just blend everything together. Using the IG4, I'm just going to add some shadow onto the frill on the skirt. Initially I wanted to leave it white, but even white needs some color when you are coloring in. You can't just leave it white and not do anything to it. It will look unfinished. So sometimes a light blue or a light gray can do the trick. And then I'm just going to be using my, I think it's IG1 to just try and blend everything together. Again, this one is dry, has dried up as well, so whatever's left on the tip of the pen, I'm just trying to use it and blend everything out. Now, using my Signo white permanent ink, I'm just adding some highlight on the dress. When I use alcohol ink or even, I don't know, paint, I do like to do that. I just think adding this highlight with a white pen really bring the colors out. I mean, this is something that I do. You don't have to do that. I really like doing this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, there you have it, and I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any more requests, please let me know, and if you are new to card making, please check my other videos out where I go back to basics. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Bye.